Okay, so once we install the Anaconda, we will have a Spider, and Spider application will have three components. The first one is the editors, and in editors you can see the files, which are the file you open. It will be, its name will be shown here. Second thing is this is the console. Whenever we run the program, whatever the input outputs are coming, that will be interacted with the program via this console. On third window, this is the variable explorer. We will see that. Now let me start writing the code, and here let's say, because we are implementing the KNN classifier, so we have a train data first. So train data is equal to and this will be a two-dimensional matrix. Okay, so here we have some elements, then we have some elements here, we have elements here, so we can have, this is the two-dimensional. For I mean, here it is a one vector, and set of vectors will form another vector, that is a two-dimensional vector. Now once we have a train data, we will have a test data. Okay, so we will also need the labels of the train data. So we have labels of train data, and which is train labels. So at this moment we have three variables, and if we run the program, we may run that, and let me run this program, and then there is some error, and maybe because the test data two-dimensional array is incomplete. Let me finish that. Let me So now we still seeing some error, but okay, it got disappeared. That means now we can run this program, and you can see it has run the program, but it is not doing anything because we have just assigned the variables. We have I mean, this in a variable explorer we can see the test data. So this is the test data is appearing. Okay, you can click on this, and you can zoom in to the each values. This is the 0th vector of the, then this is the first vector. Okay, so that way you can examine the variables. You can see these train labels. Okay, something is happening. Okay, so we can see the string types array. Okay, so in mathematics it is called as an array, but in a Python or even in the JavaScript we normally call it as a list. And now let's expand this program. So we have to take a first sample of the test data, and then once we take a first sample, we have to compare that test sample with all the samples of the train data. So first loop will be to single out the one sample of the test data. So let me take a test FV in test data. Okay, and now I will be calculating the distance with the all the train data. So let me have a distance array. So initially it will be empty. Now we will take a train sample in a train data, and now calculate the difference or the distance. So distance is equal to train FV minus test FV. Okay, so let's say we don't know, of course, I mean what we have written is correct. That means train FV and minus test FV. So if the train FV is a single value and test FV is also single value, then there is no danger in this execution of this statement. But I have a doubt, because this is a vector and this is a vector, so two vectors can be subtracted same as the two values subtracted. I have a doubt in that. So let's keep a debug point and let's start debugging. So whenever we just click beside this line number, the debug point will get toggle. Okay, I can also keep here. Okay. And now don't use this green one, use this blue one. Okay, so blue one, the first one is a debug. That means you, instead of run, this is for the run, but instead of that debug you use, because we have put a breakpoints and we have to stop the program at some points, or at the point where debugger point is there. So let me start debug, but let me just go through all the buttons. This is the steps. So wherever the control is, that line will be executed if you click on this. So, and it's written run current line. Okay, then this is inside the function, it steps in or steps into the function, and this steps out to the from the function, and this continues. So continues, when you press the continues, the control will stop to the next debugger point. So let me click on debug, and it has control has stopped here. Okay, this line has highlighted. So if we take the next line, I think since it is the multi-line one, if we write this in a single line, then in a one click only it will execute and it will jump to the train levels. So if you get bored of clicking this many times, you can always put a breakpoint here and then click on continue, and control should stop somewhere here. Okay, it has not stopped. Okay, it has stopped here. You can see the train data, only train data is correct because the control is stopped here. It has not executed our program. So we can again continue. So it has stopped at the next debugger point, and by this time it has created two more variables, the train labels and test data. Now Now it has taken the test FV from the test data. You can see the test FV 37, 56, 49. That means 37, 46, 56, 49. So the first element of the test data list has been accessed. Distance is going to be empty. Distance is going to be empty. And now it has again taken a train FV. Now from the train data it has taken. So is that train FV 67, 56, 59. So 67, 56 is the first one it has taken. And now it will calculate the difference between these two. So let's see if it it encountered with the error, and that's why this is not the legal way of writing, or this is not the legal way of doing the subtraction between the two list or two vectors. So let's stop this, bring it out, and now it has bring out. Okay, now it is ready for the next execution, but before next execution we need to change this. So we have now distance is equal to 0, and we have changed this line, and what it does is it starts from here, iterations. Okay, so zip test FV and train FV, so it takes a first time in a first iteration it will take a first element of this and first element of train FV. Okay, now don't get confused with this test FV with the test data. Now this test FV is a single vector, whereas a train data or the test data is a vector of vectors. Okay, so now this is just a vector, so that vector has elements. That means single values it has. For example, 67, 56, 59 and 37, 56, 49. Okay, so it will take a 67, or even we can point out here test FV 37, train FV 67. So it will take a 37 minus 67, one value it will keep. 56 minus 56, some difference value will come, that it will keep. 49 minus 59, some negative value is going to come. Okay, so three values are there, and that may have a sign also, negative or positive. Now so this A minus B does that difference, one value, so three differences, but all of them, when we keep that, we actually get a absolute value. When we transfer these values here in an array of the dist, it is assigned to distance, or it is put in a distance array, dist array, as a absolute one, positive one. Okay, without respecting the sign of that value. So let's see what happens is it has gone here, it has gone here. Okay, there was nothing, no breakpoint, so we will put a breakpoint. We have already come out, but we will just click on this again. Okay, now let's debug, continue, and now steps. So what is the dist? You can see the 37 minus 67 is a 30, 56 minus 56 is 0, and 49 minus 59 is a 10 absolute. Okay, because it takes a absolute of difference. Okay, and now it keeps appending that 30, 0, 10. Okay, before appending it does the sum. Okay, so it will do the sum, means 30 plus 0 plus 10, the 40. So if we now observe what is the distance value, it will have a one element of 40, you can see here. Okay, So if we keep on doing this, it will do for the 10, and you can see the distance is keeping I mean keep having values appended, okay, as it runs for the each loop. Fine. So we will again see again extend this program, and so we added 4 more instructions, 4 more statements. And what happens here, what will be the value of the distance for the one test FV? Okay, single test FV, single run of this test data. That means only for this one, what will be the distance that we will be interested in looking at. So we can see that okay, so it has the, that means it is the first run of the test data. That means there is only one test feature vector, that means this one. For this, it has calculated the differences with this one, the sum of absolute difference, which is, and it has put in a distance array, and there's, since the control is here, the distance is already calculated for the one test feature vector with the 10 train. So you can see what is the test distance, and this is the 40, 10, 1, 1, 4, 1, 9. So manually if we inspect, I think we are going to see that 10 is the least one. So in a Python or in a C++ language, index starts from 0 and not from the 1. So 1 will be the index, minimum index. So let's see what is the minimum value. Minimum value is a 10, yes, right, and index should be 1. So minimum index is 1. Okay, so it will take the first one, that means average test labels. Okay, it will assign to the this first label, sorry, the 1 is there, so that means 1 is this one. Okay, this is the 0th one, this is 0th one, this is the first one. So just pass will be assigned to this test vector. Okay, you can see $37.56 just pass. Now if we continue all these, if I remove breakpoints, you will see the average, the next feature, next text vector, which is 67, 78, 61, 67, 78, 61 average. Now the next one will be this one. Okay, so you can see 57, 36, 43, so just pass. And the next one is excellent. We can see average, and now it has executed all the test data, all the 5 elements of the 5 vectors of the test data, or 5 test samples of the test data. It will come out from the program, test come out. Okay,